Hi, everybody. First of all, welcome to the Be Merry Bride family. As we discussed in our consultation, we use an online planning platform for our brides and our clients to help them stay organized throughout the planning process. It also helps us to know what we're working on and what you're working on. That platform is called Our Planner. You may have already received the link for it to log in, but I wanted to give you a video overview of the main parts that we ask that all of our clients use, and also some other things that you guys can use that is available to you. So we'll just hop right on in. Now my screen will look different from yours because I have the planning side of it, but it's basically the same. When you first log onto it, you'll have an overview dashboard, and it's going to show you, how much longer you have of the planning progress, what you've worked on so far, your guest overview, your budget overview, how many days you have to go until your actual event, any tasks that you have coming up, as well as some design inspiration. You can also take a tour at any time off of the main page. So checklist. This is where you'll have tasks either assigned to you if you're one of our planning or design clients. If you're not, you won't get tasks assigned to you until we get to the final prep phase, which is 8 weeks before the wedding. But if you are not one of our planning clients, we'll go ahead and give you the full list anyway. That way you can know what you should be working on throughout the planning process. Now your name will be right here because that'll be you. Any task that is assigned to you for that month will be listed right here, and then you'll see my task over here. You also can look at the full planning checklist, and it can be broken down either by the month view, due dates, or by the categories. So you either can look at just a guest list task or just a budget financial, or you can look at it for what's coming up each and every month. For my planning clients, I assign tasks on a monthly basis. That way you're not overwhelmed. And then when it gets down to 8 weeks, they're assigned on the weekly basis. A cool feature that we have is that you can actually make a comment on any of our tasks. It'll come to my email, and vice versa. If I make a comment on a task, it goes right to your email. It's a good way to keep everything tracked that is under one task list. So if you have a comment or a question, and you're like, well, I know I see her that email, where is it? You can come right here and it'll pull up. Everything will pull up right here. Calendar. If you have anything that's been assigned to you, if you have any payments that are coming up that are due, any appointments in your calendar, it'll all be right here. You can sync this calendar to your iCal, Outlook, or your Google, and that way it'll pull up on your phone that way. Timeline you won't really use until we get close to the final prep phase, but I'll go over it real quick with you. It's just basically weekend wedding itinerary. It can start from that Tuesday, that Wednesday, all the way over up to that Sunday, depending on if you're doing like a welcome brunch or a welcome, meet and greet, if you're going to do a Sunday brunch afterwards. And it goes over the details by the minute, by the hour, by the, I had that sneeze there for a second, over what's going to be happening throughout the wedding weekend. You can filter it by just what's going to be relevant to you, or what's relevant to your, your cake maker, the officiant, or so forth. And then we send them their information for the wedding weekend itinerary. The design studio is used for our design clients mainly, but it's open to anybody to use. You'll see a lot of the mood boards, inspiration, the designs, the layout, the sketches. When it comes time for us to decide, like on your place settings, your linens, your lighting ideas, flowers, we can keep all of that in here. So you can see, for this client, we're helping them to look at, how they want their ceremony to be set up. And then we just put basically their Pinterest board inside of here. That way it's all kept together. We even can then email this to the florist, to the linen, or the rental company, anybody we need to send that to. As well as color palettes. We can create color palettes for any number of items that's related to your event. So this is a good way for us to move from the Pinterest and put everything into one location in one area. We require all of our planning and wedding management clients to use the guest tab. This is for your guest list. So we ask that you import all your guests inside of here. You can look at this as cards. or as lists. So the cards means that this is each household. A list is everybody individually. You can look at your event information, and we'll put in the location, the time, the date. You can see how many you have invited, how many who has confirmed, how many you're still waiting, how many has declined. A good thing about this is you can see that you're inviting 12 households, which means you need to order 15 invitations. So you might be wondering, how many invitations do I need to order? It calculates this for you. If you're going to be having meal options, where they need to select, chicken or steak, or if it's kids' meals, you can have all of that in here as well. You can look and see who all has RSVP'd for, your ceremony, your reception, your brunch, rehearsal dinner, anything that you're having. You can have that listed here, as well as their meal selection. So that's a quick way for you to see, they responded, they've declined, or they haven't had any response yet. Layout and seating, it ties with the guest list. So if we're going to be doing a seating chart, you can quickly drag and drop anybody who has responded to the list here, and we can print this off for your seating chart and then have it created into a poster, or we can give this to your caterer so they know that, at table 3 there is, 3 steaks, 3 chickens, and 1 fish. We then will have the layout that we will create for you that will list not only your tables and who's sitting there, but where your cake's going to go, your dance floor, your DJ, your bars, your doors, restroom, everything like that we will create inside your layout for you. We also ask that you use the contacts tab, and this is for your vendors. So we'll know that who is doing your hair and makeup, who is doing your cake, your catering, florals, etc. You also can track information on here as far as like their packages. You can upload them here. You can upload your payment schedule. You can see here's their invoice when you have your total amount that's due, and then your actual due dates and your payments for that person. And then you also can do a point of contact for that vendor. Budget, we give it to everybody, but we really only use this for our planning and our design clients. But here's how we track your budget. And here's how you can see, what the estimated amount is, what you're actually having to spend, and then what the difference is. So if you're a planning client, we do this for you. We do your budget estimate. We give you suggestions for each budget category. If you're a wedding management client, this is something you can do on your own. It's a good way for you to see, whether you're on track or you're off track. At the very bottom, you can see that here's your budget, here's what you actually have entered so far, and then here is the difference, and then here's what you've paid so far and what's remaining. We use our notes very heavily. They Notes is basically just basically a notebook, and so for each client or each category, you can add any notes that you want that's pertaining to your event. We'll add in some notes for you. Like we'll add in your marriage license information, like how to get your marriage license, ceremony details. The first thing you'll see is your documents to complete. This is very important. We need all of our clients to complete the client profile within the first 2 weeks of you becoming, you hiring us. And that helps us to remember everything we've talked about over the consultation, and then your meetings with us. Your detail tracker you'll get, and no matter if you are a planning or a wedding management client or a design client, we ask that you work on this throughout the process. So this basically lets us know who your wedding party is, how to contact them if we need to, especially when it comes time to like the wedding weekend or wedding day. It lets us know who your vendors are, who's the contact person, and the email address, and then the details of your planning process. So maybe you have just got done doing your venue site visit. Now you know that you can come up the day before, put that in here. Or, you can know that you're going to do your programs. We'll put the information in here as well too. This helps us to know what staffing we need to have ready to go, as well as when we need to be arriving, when we need to be showing up. So this is due 8 weeks before your wedding, but we ask that you work on it throughout the planning process. Now, if you are a planning or our design client, we work on this with you. The decor instructions is due 30 days before your wedding. It's very important that we have that before our first meeting. But it lets us know that you're going to be bringing what elements that you're going to be bringing if you're a DIY client. That also helps us to get our staffing organized. Say, for instance, if you're going to be bringing, welcome signs or a guest book, or you're bringing chair covers or linens, or you're going to bring in your own flowers. We need to know what you're bringing and where it needs to go. Again, that's how we can manage our staffing. And also to make sure that we didn't forget anything. So if you didn't put anything on here, but you brought it anyway, we can't guarantee that we're going to be able to have enough time to put it out. That's why it's very important that you have this decor instructions completed. And the last but not least is the categories. This is basically a three-ring binder. So you can click on any of the information, and it tells you everything regarding that category. So here's the design studio images related to that category, the checklist for that category, any notes for that category, and then any vendor information. So that's our planner in an overview nutshell. We'll go over it in more detail. The best way that you can learn is just to kind of dive in there. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know.